What are the democratic principles that you liked?
A number of
No policy. You've mentioned no policy this entire time. Well, all personality because you're black.
No.
Oh no, they love that.
No.
They love that. It's because you're
They had a lifetime Democrat, Obama and Bernie bro turned Trump supporter Republican on CNN to discuss what that political journey looks like, which I thought we could use to get into the mind of MAGA to dispel a lot of the we're stealing your Democrat talking points. So be sure to smash that like button, helps us out a ton, and we can hop right in.
Longtime Democrat up until 2016. I had said that if the Democratic Party nominated Hillary Clinton, because I was against Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, all of that era of Democrats, I said that I was going to leave the Democratic Party. I was like,
what a personality.
Oh, a number of things.
Because they weren't far left enough for you.
Oh, no.
No, the Clintons are terrible. I'm with you. I'm with you so far.
Was this a problem with Hillary that Hillary alone would make you leave the Democratic Party?
I didn't like what the Clintons represented when it came to the Democratic Party. I thought that
Hillary and Bill Clinton are like the front runners of neoliberalism, this idea that you can be socially left but fiscally right, and that's good enough, or the corporate feel rather than the worker first one. I think all of this was a plague on what the Democrat Party is supposed to represent. Totally get the Clinton hate, totally agree. I share in that hate, but the idea that that would lead you to Trump, who represents these things up 10 times more from the corporatism, from the fiscally right, from all of just anything you could attribute to Bill and Hillary, I feel like you could just attribute to Trump, the hawkish nature on foreign policy, so on and so forth. It almost seems like he just did so out of spite for personality rather than politics, which is typical of many Republicans, and this is also the case with many former Democrat turned Republicans. They just knew little to nothing about politics and just chose a side because of their environment or family or whatever, which it's similar for many Republicans turned Democrats as well.
I started thinking that I was going to vote for Jeb Bush because I said, if they nominate Hillary, I'll just switch over and vote for Jeb Bush.
All right, okay.
Well,
so far.
Jeb Bush got out.
Yeah.
I think
Jeb exclamation point.
maybe
flames,
in January of that year.
Let me ask you. Okay, so there's Bernie. You went to Bernie.
Yep.
Why not Trump at that time?
Well, because I was still a Democrat. I said myself, I was like, okay, well, you know what? I'm still a Democrat, and to be honest,
what are the democratic principles that you liked?
A number of. You know what? I'll say this. Until I became a Republican, I realized that I was, like many people, you're a product of your environment. So I grew up around Democrats. I just became a Democrat. I didn't know why I became a Democrat.
Thank the Lord for this guy. I'm glad that somebody asked, because too often this is allowed to skate by without this question, where you can notice this guy couldn't even name a democratic principle, let alone one he agrees with. He hasn't named a single policy yet. This is how it is with people like Tulsi Gabbard, like RFK Jr., people who at best they might have some socially left views, like, I don't know, abortion, same-sex marriage, whatever. But if you look down the list of their policies on economics, on foreign policy, on culture, it's all vehemently right-wing, to where they never really had a place in the party anyway, not with the masses at least. So the idea that we're like bleeding support to the right, rather than it's just more conservative-minded people, whereas the Republican Party has evolved on social issues to not be so tight on them, to where now they can allow people who, like, I don't know, think that same-sex people can get married, right? So it's a bit different. Like, it's not typically people with an actual history of democratic views who become Republicans. I would love to see one of them.
Bernie was a guy who was willing to go against the grain. He was unorthodox. And most of all...
no policy. You've mentioned no policy this entire time. Well, all personality.
So are we talking about liberal policies or conservative policies?
Well, I mean, we've tried to talk to you about liberal policies that attracted you, conservative policies.
Well, he said he'd like to keep more of his money. That's policy.
We talked about abortion. There are a number of things.
Yeah,
I'm not the person, checks off all the conservative boxes in the same way that I never checked off the progressive boxes. The problem is that I was made to feel unwelcomed in the Democratic Party when I'm talking
purity
about
tests. Yeah, of course.
By who?
Yeah.
I get that.
But by my Democrat friends.
Are you welcomed in the MAGA world?
Not exactly, because that's because I am willing to be critical.
Because you're black. black.
No.
Oh no, they
No,
love that.
no,
They
it is.
love that. It's because
It is.
This is something I don't understand and is kind of childish to me. I don't get why both sides pretend like the other is the only one with some litmus test to be accepted. Like, yes, there are plenty on the left who will disavow you if you don't pass some subjective moral purity test. And I think that's annoying and unproductive. I also don't think it even kind of represents the majority of our party. The Democrats, and there was actually a study done on this recently that shows that Democrats as a party allows more dissent than Republicans do. On the right, they'll disown you just for supporting Trump, for not falling in line with literally one policy. They're literally on X talking about primarying Republicans who voted against any one Trump cabinet pick, even if they're lifelong Republicans, whatever. When you go against Trump, you get attacked by MAGA. And if we're talking about, again, which side has the bigger tent, it's so obviously the left that it's not funny. On the left, you cannot support the candidate. You can still be on the left. I mean, Nancy Pelosi literally worked to get Biden, the sitting president and nominee, to step down and allow a different candidate in. That would never happen on the right. And the idea that it can happen under the Democratic Party and they can still think that, well, you guys don't allow dissent is insane, right? You can be moderate, progressive, gay, trans, straight, white, black, whatever. On the right, you have to support the candidate. If you don't fit under the patriarchy, you have to play the role of, well, I'm the good little token gay that, will hate on other gay people, like Dave Rubin when he talks about like the LGBTQ community, like, let's stop at the LGB or whatever it is that they're saying nowadays.